In this new video, we are going to customize this bicycle helmet using the features included in the Imagine edition of the Wrapstyler software. For the first step, we visit our partners at 3D Solutions near Paris. They will use the Peel 3 3D scanner and the Peel OS software to digitize the helmet. After acquisition, the Peel CAD software is used to clean and prepare the 3D model. Now that the helmet is scanned, I import it into Wrapstyler. I'm using the most advanced edition called Imagine, which lets you project images onto an object to create a 3D texture. I start by cutting the helmet in half using a cutting plane. Then I draw the cutting lines where the future patterns will be cut. Of course, I'm no expert in the application of decorative films, so the way I place the lines may not be the best. Once all the curves have been drawn, I cut. I remove the texture, as well as the parts I don't want. Then I mirror the remaining parts to reconstitute a complete and symmetrical helmet. I then merge the central parts, and I use the flattening function to create the patterns. The patterns appear in the 2D view on the right. In this view, I'm going to create a rendering type page which displays the applied textures. On this page, I import the patterns I've created. Next, we'll use the projectors available in the Imagine edition to simulate a sticker bombing effect. For the purposes of this example, I generated around 30 images using Firefly, Adobe's generative AI. For each one of these images, we will create a 3D projector in Wrapstyler. I start by loading the desired image and checking that the projector is a plane. Then I check the See in 3D option before validating. The projector appears on the screen. I apply it to the helmet by clicking here. The image is now projected. It appears both in the 3D and the 2D views. In the manager, I can adjust the projector parameters. I can also change its position with the mouse by moving it as a whole, moving its target point, or by moving its point of origin. If I position the projector astride two parts, you can see that it is automatically calculated in 2D to ensure a perfect fit. This feature comes with more advanced settings, which we'll look at later. Having done this, I hide the projector to free up space in the 3D view. Now, I can create one projector for each image. I use the Copy Selected Data function to save time, and I modify the parameters. First, I will simply rename each projector and modify the image. With all our projectors created, I select all the parts of the helmet and I choose to apply all projectors. All that's left now is to position them one by one. Projectors are particularly useful in certain fields, such as the application of printed adhesive film or the creation of inflatable structures. Depending on the final purpose, it may be preferable to use a cylindrical projector rather than a flat one, or even to use one large projector rather than several small ones like here. Now all projectors are in place and the helmet's surface is completely covered. If I want to see certain stickers in particular, I can move their order in the Projectors Manager listing. The order of the projectors in the list corresponds to the order in which they are applied to the object. The stickers at the end of the list will therefore be the most visible. Once I'm happy with the result, I can add an offset, which we call a flap, around the patterns. Here, I've chosen a 5mm margin. Thanks to the Imaging Edition, I can even add texture to this flap by extending the 3D texture. To do this, I will first need to create assemblies between parts and on free borders, and set them to automatically use a 5mm flap, which will be textured along its entire length, and even a bit further, just to be sure. This function is very useful for ensuring an overlap and therefore a perfect joint in certain applications. With my flaps set, I export to PDF. I make sure to check the option Arrange Drawing in different layers and to choose a 300 dpi resolution. I check that the layers are present in the PDF, which I can then send to print. Our helmet is now ready. Perhaps adding a few coats of varnish would help protect the adhesive film, but it already looks pretty good. You can see that with this Imaging Edition, the customization possibilities are almost endless. The only limit is your creativity.